What is going on, YouTube? For anybody who's new, welcome to my channel. I'm trying to revamp it, hopefully make way better content. I know that I've been slacking in the department as far as creating good content, and I am working on that, and I'm also working on getting a better camera, so hopefully new shit to come soon. And for any of my returning subscribers, thanks so much again for tuning in. You are literally the reason why I do this. I wouldn't make videos if I didn't have anybody to make videos for. So again, new content coming pretty soon. So kind of a controversial topic, and really I want to first emphasize here that obviously there is no perfect diet. There is no perfect meal plan. Everybody is different. Our bodies react differently. I've done the traditional Western diet and I had success with it for a good while until I had stalled. And as most of you know now, I'm doing a ketogenic way of life. I say way of life because I hate the term diet, since diet really just means what we eat. But I will never tell somebody that, oh my god, keto is the best, everybody should be on keto. You have to find what works for you. However, there are some things that I feel can be a little misleading. When we say the word fat, we immediately just assume that if you eat fat, you will become fat, right? And there was a long time that people hated carbohydrates and just immediately assumed that if you eat carbohydrates, they're immediately going to turn into fat to your body. We seem to forget that there's a process and there's a mixture of things that we need to have within our body. I do want to start and say that there are essential proteins. There are proteins that we just have to have in our body to survive and thrive. There are essential fats. You know, fats usually from like avocados, fish, and things like that. There are essential fats, that's literally what they're called, that we need in our body. I will say, though carbohydrates are not the devil, there is no such thing as an essential carbohydrate. I want to go into a little bit here to kind of explain the title of this video, so don't kill me. Okay, so the title of this video is really mostly just to be kind of eye-catching. Sorry for clickbait, but you know, you gotta do what you gotta do when you're a small channel. In all reality, as far as why I was I'm not picking on Lex. Obviously the dude is super successful. I don't know how much his body fat percentage is, but it's super, super low. Dude's in amazing shape, and he's just an overall great guy. It's actually kind of why I'm picking on him, or why I'm using him in this video, because the fact I've been a big fan of his for so long, and I'm subscribed to his channel. I've been watching his channel for a super, super long time, and I super admire the guy. I cringe a little bit when I watch some of his videos, and like there was one of them recently, he had the six-pack diet, and he's pulling so much stuff out of his fridge and cabinets, and it's all this fat-free or reduced fat products. If you want to eat fat-free foods, I would suggest eating foods that are naturally fat-free, you know, chicken, turkey, things that are going to be just naturally fat-free, certain, you know, most vegetables obviously. If you want to reduce fat, I would say to do that. What I want you to ask yourself before you go and try to find, oh, I need to be on as low fat of a diet as possible, is ask yourself, do you know why? Do you know why you want to have as little fat into your diet as possible? Because, again, we know that there are essential fats that our body has to have. And if you're adjusting your macros, where you're like, obviously I'm going to still have fats in my system, I'm still going to eat, you know, certain fatty fish, certain fatty meats, I'm going to eat avocados, things like that, cheese, then that's fine. But I want you to really ask yourself, why do I need to eat fat-free products? Is it because somebody told me? Or is it because I can't have certain products because I know that fat is going to screw up my system? If you don't know the answers to that, that's what you need to look at first before you go trying any specific macro-based diet. So as you can see by looking at people like Lex, or pretty much anybody that's in way better shape than I am, how could this happen to me? Obviously you can have fat-free products and low-fat products and still be in amazing shape. The thing that I don't like about products, like when you take cheese that already naturally has fat, you know, certain milks or certain dairy products that naturally have naturally occurring fats and the healthy fats, not this lab-created fat bullcrap. When you get foods that already naturally have that and you modify them to take the fat out, you're typically, the only way they can do that, because fat adds flavor. So if you take out fat that's in a naturally, something that naturally has the fat, they have to replace it with something so it doesn't taste like crap. So they're usually loading it full of sugar, and they'll usually use fancy names for different types of sugars, so it looks a little bit better on the ingredients list, where it doesn't just flat out say there's a ton of sugar in here. Or they use different chemicals. They use chemicals that are not naturally occurring in this product. So we're going to take a look at a few fat-free or low-fat products just to look at the ingredients list just to give you an idea. Sorry for the weird camera angle, but I do need to be at my computer to actually be able to read out this crap because honestly I can't remember and pronounce half of the crap that gets put into some of these fat-free products. So just to give an example, let's say Kraft fat-free shredded cheese, right? Everybody loves cheese, most people, but cheese does have a good bit of fat in it. Now it's supposed to have fat in it. So if we look at the ingredients for a fat-free cheese, just for an example, non-fat cheddar cheese, trivial source of fat, salt, yeast, ingredient that is not in regular cheddar cheese, cheese culture, that's usually fine, artificial color, almost everything has artificial color now, natural flavoring, again, ingredient not in regular cheddar cheese, because remember what we say, when you take out the fat, you take out the flavor. Enzymes, that's cool, vitamin A, fine, potato starch, that's a little weird, it's just cheese, why do you need potato starch in it, but whatever. Cellulose powder, calcium sulfate, those are added to prevent caking, and then a natural mold inhibitor. Again, when you're looking at these ingredients, the only reason I don't like this is because if you get natural, just like legit cheese, you know what your ingredients are in that? Cheese. With the whole keto thing, I definitely have to be careful with what kind of stuff that I put into my body because it can knock me out of ketosis, and I'd prefer to stay in ketosis because it's been amazing for my migraines, it's been amazing for my overall health. I've added on more muscle mass, I'm hitting new PRs in the gym, so personally for me, I like being in ketosis. A lot of that crap that's in there is not going to be good for ketosis, plus you need to have the fat to stay into ketosis. But again, fat is not bad for us. The typical Western diet for somebody who is not super health conscious, for the people who are, eating fast food on a regular basis, delivery pizza, stuff like that. Problem comes in because we usually would have a high amount of carbs and a high amount of fat. When you get both of those, that trifecta of the high fat, moderate protein, high carbs, that's what starts to clog up the arteries, stores extra fat, visceral fat, etc. That's where it starts to become bad. For me personally, with the cutting out the carbs as far as the grain sources, the wheat sources, a lot of the sugar sources, because those are not essential for our body, I've noticed, like I said, a huge change, and I just feel like, let's say that you're still doing a traditional 30-30-30, so like 30 fat, 30% carbs, 40% protein. That's fine, and you can definitely do that. That was the way I originally lost weight. I would just suggest to keep the fat as real food. Don't stress so much about the fat and think that if I eat a bunch of fat-free products that's going to work for me. You may lose weight. Will you be healthy in the long run? Probably not. There's a lot of this crap in this stuff that they haven't either done a ton of studies on to know how it's going to affect us overall, or just you read it. You can tell that's why would I want to put that in my body. Going on to the next item, let's look at fat-free creamer, because obviously we all love coffee. We should. If you don't love coffee, I don't know if I can be your friend. When it comes to the creamers are already going to be loaded full of sugars and all that good stuff regardless, because that's what they are. They're a flavoring, right? Honestly, the best bet, if you can do like a whole milk, milk's not usually too bad if you go with a low fat or a skim milk. Those are going to be your better options. Almond milk, just because they're going to be a little bit more natural. If we look at a fat-free creamer ingredients, you've got water, sugar, that's alright, partially hydrogenated soybean and or cottonseed oil, and less than 2% of natural and artificial flavors, sodium caseinate, which is a milk derivative, color added, datum. Datum is interesting. So datum, I know it's an acronym, I'll put a description there of what it means exactly, but it's an emulsifier that's used in baking to create a strong gluten network. Datum, again, is one of those ingredients that hasn't had a ton of research to really know how it's going to affect us overall. They did do some studies with rats and found that, I'm just going to quote here, said one study showed that heart fibrosis and adrenal overgrowth in rats that were given datum. So it doesn't really seem to have any kind of health benefit. And what else is interesting that this is in a creamer is because it's a thickening agent, which is usually used in like bread products. So it's interesting that they're adding it to the creamer. That's a lot of random crap that you're putting into your body. Kind of take a different spin real quick, because one of the things in his video that he listed I actually like, and I've never heard of this stuff before, and I'll put a picture up on the screen here, but it's quark, I'm sure I'm butchering the pronunciation of that. And I've never heard of it. It's some kind of a, almost like a yogurt, almost like a Greek yogurt. When I was looking at the stuff for this, I like it because it sounds pretty good. The ingredients was saying cultured grade A non-fat milk, which is fine, water, erythritol, which if you guys are not familiar with erythritol is a natural sweetener. It's not like an artificial sweetener. I believe it's from a plant. I'll have to look up the exact information again, but my favorite part about erythritol is the fact that it has no effect on the glycemic index. So, meaning it's not affecting your insulin, which is great for me in ketosis. And it also has zero effect on your teeth. It doesn't cause any tooth decay or anything like that, whereas a lot of, obviously regular sugar does and a lot of the artificial sweeteners do. So I thought, oh, like, this has erythritol, that's awesome. Banana puree, natural flavors, locust bean gum, pectin, which pectin is a thickening agent, stevia extract, stevia also is a very good sweetener, lactic acid, turmeric. Turmeric is amazing, has amazing health benefits, vegetable rennet, and then of course it has live active cultures. So this stuff, I'm like, I want to get some of this. This sounds awesome. So I'm glad that he actually had that in that video, because I don't know if I can get that here in the States or here in Florida, but I am going to start looking for that. So I don't want this video to be a rant, because I want to be more educational with a lot of stuff. So again, when I'm making this whole video, I'm not bitching at Lex, I'm not bitching at anybody who is saying, hey, look, this is how I maintain my weight, and fucking look at Lex. Like, he's a freaking Spartan Adonis, if that makes any sense, right? So, dude's in amazing shape. I'm sure he's healthy inside as well as outside. But if you haven't been in his shoes where you've been fit pretty much your whole life, if you have had issues where you've been overweight, or let's say you currently are overweight and you're looking to better your overall health, please do not load up on fat-free foods, because as you see, they're loaded with sugars, sugar alternatives, stuff that's not naturally occurring in those products, because when you replace the fat, you take away the flavor, and they have to find something else to add in there to help add the flavor. There's nothing healthy about that. So, again, I'm not trying to really make a rant, I just want you to be educated. If you want to still incorporate fats in your diet, which you should, stick with the real stuff. And if having too much fat is one of those things that's not good for you, cut down on the amount. So for example, with doing keto, I still have carbohydrates. I have roughly between 25 to sometimes 35 grams of carbohydrates a day, but they're just coming from natural sources, like in certain vegetables, non-root vegetables, things of that nature. Avocados still have carbohydrates, but because they're also high in fiber, you can get lower net carbs. So I'm not saying to cut out any kind of macronutrient if you're going to do keto, but obviously just be more aware of where they're coming from. Same thing with the fat. If you want to reduce the amount of fat, cool. Instead of having a ton of cheese, cut down on the amount of cheese. Instead of having a ton of sour cream or a ton of coffee creamer, find some kind of an alternative that you like, or have a smaller amount of it. The biggest thing for weight loss, if your idea is weight loss, or if your idea is bringing out those six-pack abs, is a lot of it's just portion control. And I can promise you that if you stick with naturally occurring foods, or as natural as possible at least, we live in that day and age, that's not always going to happen, but as natural occurring as possible, you're going to be a lot healthier inside and outside, and you're going to feel it in the long run, and you're going to be a lot happier. Alright guys, so if you have any questions, comments, bitching at me, whatever, leave them in the comments below. If you want to see more stuff like this or other content that I'm putting out, I'll give that thumbs up button a hit there, so I can actually get found with me being a small channel. And again, give me your feedback. Let me know what kind of videos you'd like to make. What questions do you have? I'm going to be doing a Q&A video here pretty soon. Alright guys, Beck out.